All right, so we're about to take a test drive in the Bronco Sports. Eric's gonna drive the Bronco. You excited to drive under?
Very excited.
Yeah, so we're taking this to our machine.
Actually, no, we'll take that one. All three of these.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Three in line, yep.
So-
Take all three of these.
Pick one.
Go for it.
This one.
All right, guys, go ahead and get in. Get yourselves comfortable and fired up.
Here we go. We're riding in the Bronco, baby.
Sweet.
Let's do this, Eric.
This is awesome.
All new 2021 Ford Bronco Sport.
You get in, yep, your radio's on. Go get the seat adjusted, everything you need, pedals, steering column, mirrors, all that stuff.
Right.
You're gonna click the lights on
Okay.
and leave them on. It just helps the vehicle in front of you see it. So,
Awesome, thank you. All right.
yes.
Nice. Dude,
This is nice.
this is nice. We're driving a freaking Bronco, baby. Yeah, so they let us drive.
Radio check. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me back there. Thumbs up if you can hear me on the radio. Right on. I see thumbs all the way. That's awesome. All right, guys. So again, make yourselves at home. I'm gonna go ahead and fire mine up. Start putting up on the dash. I'll give you a tour of the controls. Light knob to the left of the column. I'm gonna turn my lights on. You should too. Then you can see you've got your two gauges, gauge cluster and information center up there in the middle of the dash. You've got your nav screen, audio controls below that. Below that you got climate control. Down into the center console you got your shift selector knob. And then closest to your armrest you'll see that GOAT mode selector and the 4 quadrants around there. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in our tour. But for now,
we're rolling. For now, it just stops and takes off.
slide into the drop and make our way out into the desert.
All right, so
Again, a little bit of a war zone here at the beginning. Just be careful and do your best.
there we go. Yes, so we get to ride. We get to drive the Sports, and then in a minute we get to ride in the big one.
If we do get separated, it's no big deal at all. We're going to make a left out of here and onto that road, and then we're going to go past the porta potties and go off to the right. So left, right, and we'll all get caught up on the light then if we do get separated.
Yes. 2021 King of the Hammers, absolute success so far.
I agree.
Okay, so
I agree.
looks like we got some opportunity here. So I'm going to just bail on out.
Yep. I think it's pretty smooth for
The steering feels solid.
All right, that worked out great. Rather be lucky than good any day. So Johnson Valley has been a super important part of the development of Ford Bronco, the reintroduction of America's off-road icon. We have been over 5 years at this point doing competitive analysis, durability testing, capability testing, and a lot of the magic that has been distilled for Bronco has made its way into this tasty little cocktail, the Ford Bronco Sport. A lot of technology in this truck. As we head off here towards the middle of the lake then. Again, this is the part where Richard's talking about low vis. We're going to run right in the middle here and just be ready for anything. So a lot of technology in all modern vehicles, and I'll talk more about technology in a minute, but a lot of the stuff is developed for Ford Bronco that's so good, made its way into this truck.
throttle's real
It's
sensitive.
real sensitive. It's nice. It's like instant.
Instant power.
Yeah.
No lag. Okay, so obviously, you know, I wouldn't be the person to buy a Bronco Sport, but overall my first impressions, well, really both of ours.
Yeah.
You know, we've been driving around in this terrain for a week now, and you know, the 4Runner's got an excessive suspension system on it. And it's a unibody with independent front and rear suspension. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah. It's super smooth.
Yeah, it's super smooth. So this is exciting. It is a lot bigger in here than I think we could have. I didn't think it was gonna be this big.
Yeah. It looks smaller on the outside.
Yeah.
It's plenty of room.
30 miles an hour. That's 30. This is awesome. Tons of space. See the power. Yeah.
35.
35 miles an hour.
Traffic here. Slow down.
That's super impressive, man. That's nice.
Yeah, it is very nice. And the steering feedback is like
Solid.
solid. Like when you're going slow like this, it's kind of heavy, but all speeding up, it lined up just a little
Alright,
bit.
cool. So there's some loose rocks in the road up here. One of them's a little sharp edged, so we're gonna want to pick our way around it. Again, scan the terrain, show the capabilities of the truck. That's kind of a bad rock right there. Head left of that one, it's in the trail. And again, we've got a couple here. Working our way through.
Man, this is like really comfortable.
It is, yeah.
I mean, this is not no easy terrain that we're mopping through.
I wonder how many miles of this they've gone through. Like just
That's a good
Alright,
question.
gang, so, you know, as off-roaders, if you're anything like me, technology used to just be something that got in the way of my good time. I'd get into a truck, I'd turn everything off so I could go have fun in it. There has been a change, and the technology has gotten really good. And there's somebody coming from the right, but surely he sees us as a convoy. Technology has gotten good enough to the point where it's actually beneficial and it's helpful. And it makes our high-performance off-road experience even better.
That's a good point.
How Ford has done that in this one a little bit. One of the first features I want to show you though is more of a convenience feature. We're going to slow down and turn left here into this cut-through trail. Once we all get up on this trail, I'm going to talk you through engaging trail control.
All right. A little off camber action there. Yes.
Alright, so I'm going to bring the group to a stop here. Go ahead and look down in that center console by your armrest. You'll see the GOAT mode selector, upper left-hand quadrant, and the 4 buttons surrounding it. There's a thing that looks like a speedometer and a picture of the Bronco Sport. Push that button, the amber light will come on. That's going to enable trail control. Then I'm having you move up to the steering wheel. To the left of the horn button, take your thumb and push that button. It says RAS upward. And on the digital display just above the odometer, you're going to see a green number, and that's your trail control speed. So once you have room, go ahead and let your foot off the brake, and you'll see that the Bronco Sport is going to maintain whatever you set it at. I'm going to use 9 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, bottom left corner there.
right there. Yeah.
Where do you have your set at?
Trail control
I'll go
is
for
a
it.
slick feature for a lot of different situations. I can see it being handy on like a rough riverbed with a bunch of rock where you're trying to like hold your foot over the gas pedal. That's exhausting.
You don't have to like
yeah,
the
You can
jerky
also see it
motion.
when you want to like really work on your steering and concentrate on wheel placement. And also if you just want to look around and check out the scenery on your way into your adventure.
So right now your feet are not on either
So
Break your
as I get up here to the
way.
high grounds, I'm going to bump it up to say 14 on my trail control.
And this is not like yeah.
And we're on stock tires, right? Just regular.
Stock, yeah, whatever came with it. That's a good question though. Like, you know, most unibody, quote unquote, you know, cross terrain vehicles like this are they tend to be chattery in the body and the drivetrain and the
Just
steering.
nothing.
You know, this is not like that,
Yeah,
right? No?
not at all. Like we're going over these bumps and the steering wheel is solid.
You know what I mean though? Like you get in some cars like it's
Yeah.
quote unquote an off-road car, but it's just chattering.
Yeah.
This seems to have a really solid feel to it.
Trail control also functions as a descent control, so if you're on a steep hill and you want it to maximize its ability to go downhill for you, you just kick on whatever speed you want it to go, and it'll do everything in its power to maintain that downhill speed.
Nice. Yeah.
If we get to where we're on a long straight and there's some speed,
Yeah.
some distance between you and that one, let's see what this thing will do.
Yeah. I kind of want to try that.
Yeah. So like,
So you've got bumps of every size. We're going to be on this throughways, and you've got everything from these big rollers that I'm in right now, which Okay, so the approach angle. All the way through some like fine chatter bumps, like I'm in right now, almost washboard size, and then a mixture of every size in between. So a cool little test road here to get a feel for, you know, how the Bronco Sport feels in a variety of conditions. You also get a very terrain through here.
Yes!
This is nice. Comfortable,
Sort of
actually.
exposed rock section. Make sure you pick your way around those rocks.
Dude, this is really impressive, man, for this type of vehicle.
Super sharp one here to the right. I'm gonna make sure and go
Super
driver's
comfortable
left
in
in
it.
that one.
There's no.
I would have expected this to be a lot harsher than it is with
Yeah.
such little travel. Yeah, it really feels nice.
Even over that part where you kind of.
Yeah. Well, I was saying, we've already had it in a few.
But you can see it's super agile.
Yeah, we had it in a few situations where like the body itself was twisted.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of something earlier. Like a lot of times you feel like the whole body is kind of, you know, or you didn't like it.
Like
twisting. Yeah. Yeah, it's super nice. There's a lot of big headroom in this thing too.
There is. Yeah.
Clockwise, eco for economy driving, normal mode, which got us out here, mud and ruts, sand, and then rock crawl mode. We're going to select sand mode. You'll notice in sand mode that the front bumper camera comes up on the now display, which is a pretty cool feature
Oh, nice.
as you're cresting over dunes.
Forward locked automatically.
Yeah, Phil wouldn't have hit a rock.
And you'll notice it changes the
Oh wow. The throttle
gear
switches.
selection, so it's going to hold a lower gear longer, give you higher RPM, more on-demand power from this 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine.
Wow, man, this is crazy.
For Bronco Sport Badlands, featuring a 2-liter turbo. It's got 250 horsepower, so when you hold a little bit lower gear, it keeps turbos full load.
That's nice.
And
Feel a big difference.
make that power ready on demand.
You can hear it, man. It sounds
Also locks in the center differential, transfer case, as it were, but it does not lock the rear differential. I'm going to head to the left around this big rock.
It feels super torquey.
Yeah.
The reason it doesn't lock the rear differential is because it uses the independent power outputs across the rear end to help steer the truck. So it's called torque vectoring. So if you want to turn right, it's going to power the left rear. Pretty cool what they can do now and how well it all works. So we thread the gap here between these rock and the bank into our first sand climb. So following up the hill here, you can notice there's no real special technique required, just a nice smooth throttle application. Squeeze into the gas, just like your normal driving. And the Bronco Sport just climbs up the hill. And then it's been doing that chatter.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. This is
I'm barely even touching the gas.
Cheapers in the crowd and you have stuff, you know what that sand chatter is all about. Bronco Sport does such a good job regulating the wheels. It never has to climb up out of a hole, thus it never has to
that is wild.
work that hard. It's just
That's
a
just a
sure-footed
good
climb.
climb.
Straight to the So you crest up over that hill, you can see that front display cam comes in handy.
That is so cool.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like right now, I can't really see anything.
Yeah,
I can see exactly what's in front of me.
that is awesome. This is freaking cool, dude. I turned off.
When you go over, I think 15 miles an hour. Let's see. I turn back.
Wow, dude, that is neat.
Some rocks working their way up the bank here on the right.
I'm really
And then
impressed
our
with
next
the
sand
throttle.
climb here, this one is to me even more impressive just because it's super ruddy. It does have some exposed rock here at the top.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That is so wicked.
I like how the throttle was really.
Ford engineers told us that the objective with the electronics was to flatter the novice, not impede the expert. And I think that's exactly what these things do. I'm a professional driver, and I can't feel the system working, but it just works well.
That's so cool, man. This is we are way up here, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow.
Look at that. I mean, look how far away from Hammertown we are. You can't even see it. We are up here. That is super impressive, man. I would not have thought this car would do this. I'd be nervous to do this in the 4Runner. This is tall and sandy as hell.
Alright, so if you park nose to tail, you can go ahead and leave the engines running, and great place to hop out and get a picture of both the Ford Bronco and John's.
I'm gonna let you record.
Alright.
Dude, that is awesome.
That drove.
What do you think, man? You drove. I didn't even drive.
I'm really impressed with how that drove.
Right?
Yeah.
I would have never have thought these types of vehicles would have made it up. I mean, look where we're at. Up that sand hill like nothing. That is cool. See? I mean, look at this thing. It's just got some Falcons on it, which is a great tire. There's not a whole lot of ground clearance. What'd you think?
It was nice. It was super smooth.
Right?
Super smooth.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Right.
Who wants to go out and go mountain biking and get to the good terrain?
Absolutely.
You're in Bronco Sport.
What'd you think?
I like it. I
like it. Right?
Yeah.
All right, Ford, good job.
It's pretty legit, right, Bob?
Yeah, man. Would have never thought a small little unibody vehicle like that would,
I'm telling you,
that comfortably.
in a lot of it, I think is owed to the tech that's come from ultimately from motorsports, right?
Yeah.
You have these super high sampling rate traction control systems. So they're checking in with wheel position. You know, it used to be once every eighth of a revolution. Now it's 80 hertz, and so they have these like super high sampling rates.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Toyota Tacoma and a 4Runner, and man, if you don't totally disable everything, it just like just falls on its ass.
It gets in your way.
It gets in your way, so I don't run it. But
One of the challenges actually that we're gonna have, I feel like, with Bronco Sport is that like getting people to trust the electronics.
Yeah.
Because as off-roaders, we're just so used to being like, get it out of my way, get this stuff
well, that's
out
what
of
we
here.
were talking about. Man, I can't even feel that anything is on, but like
Yep.
I still feel like I'm controlling the machine and it's not controlling me.
Totally. So
Which
you
is-
guys drive a lot. You're
Yeah.
like in tune with
Yeah.
with the ECU, the ABS, and you can tell when it's doing it. And I've driven this thing a lot of laps now up here. I can't feel the system, but it just goes. Like when you can stop on those sand climbs and just like re-tip into the throttle. Like
We were curious. Do you know the mileage of this loop you guys are doing?
it's about 6 miles.
How many times you guys ran it in the course of this whole event?
8, 2 groups 8 times a day.
Yeah. So they're
16 trips a day in the last 4 days.
well. One thing I noticed is like several like Subarus and the RAV4s, even the unibody cars. There's a lot of chatter in the body, and like even in the steering, and like it's solid. Like
There's a section that we go through when we get down off of here. It's we go across this desert road here, and it's like a clay road section.
Yeah.
And there's some alternating bumps where it's like kind of washed in.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's like a frame twister.
yeah,
Dude, wait till you go through there because of course you get in-cab movement because they're big bumps. When
Yeah.
you keep perspective, when you look at them, they're like 2.5
but-
feet high. But you go through and it's like,
yeah. But I think we all understand and know like when you're in those cars, like man, this thing is like doesn't sound real good.
Typically it would be like picking up the rear tire.
and hanging something.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get any of that.
Yeah, that's super cool, man.
Right on. Well, you guys sound like you know exactly what you're talking about, so I'm psyched to bring you up here in this because
I was telling like, man, I don't know if I would have just done this.
it's just
I wouldn't have.
Right?
I wouldn't have.
when we were setting the route, I was like,
sure
we
about
shouldn't really do
this?
this, and they were like, okay, we're gonna do it. And it like totally works. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I'm thoroughly impressed. That's for sure.
Excellent. So use that trail control going down this next hill if you want. That's also it works better than any descent control I've used.
Yeah.
In that trail, and I at first was like trail control, but now after a couple days I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Like it'll be hard to off-road without it actually.
Going down, set it at like 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there,
Okay.
and feel it as you're going down. And there's some pretty good ruts going down there, and it's fairly steep incline. But then try to get out of the rut. You put a little bit of wheel input, but the torque vectoring system, it just keeps you straight. You got to really put wheel into it. Then it'll just climb right up and out. But
Yeah.
it thinks, hey, we're supposed to be going straight, and
Yeah.
it'll keep you straight, and you'll try to turn, and it'll try to straighten you back out.
So neat.
It's pretty slick.
There's a lot more suspension travel on these than I sort of would have anticipated also.
Visually looking at it,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And we were watching
And some
this
of these
one.
other bumps, like I said, when we go down through there, you don't really feel it. Just
Yeah.
you don't even notice
It didn't, I mean, I know we didn't like super get it heavy off camera, but like, there's a lot of times in cars like this where like, man, we're definitely going to lift the wheel here. And There's a lot.
Solid.
Yeah.
I ride bikes. So it's super cool, man.
Scenario is pretty much the only time.
You're not gonna crawl on this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a rock crawl mode, but I don't see.
All right, so we're about to go again. Let's go at it.
Here we go, guys. We're gonna head down off the hill.
It's so neat to be able to see what's in front of you on that thing. Especially coming up over a hill and like that car drops down, you know, not being able to see the path. For like snare it, man, like, we are like in some shit.
Yeah. Right by the side-by-sides.
Yeah, you got the racers out here ripping around the sand. We're out here in some Bronco Sports. Hell yes.
I didn't expect this today.
All those guys like, look at these dudes. That's awesome. That is so cool, man. I mean, look, there's straight up sand dune buggies out here. And we're just in some stock Bronco Sports.
Cruising along.
Man, the motor sounds strong.
Yeah, it does. It feels really good.
It's cool. It's kind of like if you're on a...
And again, with that independent four-wheel suspension, you can like pick your line on roads like this and sort of, you know, have the sacrificial side, if you will. And the ride quality is really pretty good.
Solid.
So I'm noticing now that my RPMs are still up because I'm still in sand mode. So now that we're back on the hard pack, I'm gonna go ahead and switch my GoPros.
See, that's pretty cool though.
Spinning the
So you could
dial
like,
clockwise until I get normal, and I just want to go back to normal mode.
what's pretty cool is you can like whip around something like that. When you come to this, you had it set to 10 miles an hour and don't have to worry about like.
Yeah, let off.
You
It
just
does
let
it.
it off and
It
it'll
does it
go
for
up by
you.
yourself.
I think you mobbed it pretty good for this. Man, this is no joke. This is like, this is a pretty aggressive little run.
Yeah, this is pretty rough.
Dang, this thing moves, dude.
Yeah, it is fast. I hit 40 something.
See before you
Oh man, this thing is cool.
it's super tough to get back.
Sweet. All right. I don't know about you, dude, but that was insane.
That was really.
Thoroughly impressed, man. I really think this thing is going to do well. Again, it's not something that I think, would personally buy, but like for a beginner level driver, adventurer, this is an awesome platform to start with. That's super cool. Good job, Ford. Nailed it.